Monday, September 30th, Mayor and Council meeting. I'll give you a little bit of a preview how this is going to work tonight. We have a special called meeting, and then we will open it up to the open mic night. So the first meeting I would like to call to order is the special called meeting, and we'll start off with the pledge, and I would like to ask the Youth Day officials to come forward and lead us in the pledge. Thank you, Youth Day officials. I would also like to recognize that Councilmember Matt Tizer is not in attendance this evening, and he has an excused absence. And the following, it's my pleasure to introduce Andy Gambrell, and Andy is going to present our Youth Day officials, and then we're going to have our Youth Day officials come forward and read the proclamation and run this portion of the meeting. Thank you.
Good evening. I am excited to announce to everyone the 2019 Youth Day officials. These are students who live in Roswell and who go to high school in Roswell, and they represent their schools. So first, I would like to introduce our youth mayor, Ellen Stovall, representing Mayor Lori Henry. Chase Quant will represent Marcelo Zapata. Jelaine Downs will be representing Marie Wilsey. Amelia White will be representing Matt Judy. Lauren Silvers will be representing Mike Palermo. Diwali Lagore representing Matt Tizer. Madeline Fuller, she's not here this evening, but she will be representing Judge Brian Hansford. Sean DeRoye will be representing Senator John Albers. Ethan Asher will be representing Representative Mary Robichaud. Evan Reese will be representing Chief Ricky Burnett. And Sophia Eyre will be representing Chief James W. Conroy.
Roswell's 69th Annual Francis McRae Youth Day celebration. Whereas the youth of Roswell are an important part of the community, and whereas the youth of Roswell represent the future of our great city, and whereas the city of Roswell for the past 69 years has celebrated its youth with the city-wide parade and community event, and whereas the theme for the 69th Annual Youth Day celebration is Be Someone's Hero. Now, therefore, I, Ellen Stovall, Youth Mayor of City of Roswell, do hereby proclaim Saturday, October 12th, 2019, as Youth Day in City of Roswell. And I call upon all our citizens, youth, young and old, to help us celebrate and promote this most honorable day in our community. I call on Mary Rummel for a presentation on the year's Grand Marshal.
Thank you, Mayor and Council and Recreation Commission and youth officials for selecting the Roswell Adaptive Recreation participants this year to be this year's Grand Marshal in this year's 69th Annual Youth Day Parade. They are very excited, the participants that we offer the programs and activities to provide and be part of this year's Youth Day Parade as the Grand Marshals. They're excited to wear their capes, their masks, or be somebody's hero. Their theme right now, as well as the heroes, is Sky's the Limit. And now we're going to show you a little bit about it, but what I wanted to explain too was what is therapeutic recreation. A lot of people aren't familiar with that. It is a field, and the practice is recreational therapy. Extends the enhancement of physical, cognitive, emotional, social, leisure development so individuals may participate fully and independently in chosen life pursuits. Recreational therapy, extremely individualized to each participant by his or her past, present, and future interests in recreational lifestyles. Recreational therapy is provided by quality professionals known as CT, Certified Therapeutic Recreation Specialists, which we are proud to announce that we do have a staff member on board that has a CTRS license. As you can see, we've been doing a lot of different programs and activities that we're offering through our department. And you can see through the slide presentation some of the programs that we're offering now. We do have a lot of social programs, and they're represented. We do have a camp that we started about 4 or 5 years ago. We have a movie night, fun night, the baseball, basketball, bocce, soccer, tennis, yoga, aquatics. We did visit the fire department this summer. We've been adding more extended day trips into the camp setting to be able to give them that opportunity of what a typical camp program would be like. So we're really excited that they've done part of the program and the activities that we're offering through our department, some of the other camps, and we also offer veterans as well. As you can see, we do a lot of different activities that provide individual recreational therapy for them. For example, let me share a success story. We had a participant that couldn't throw a baseball or catch a baseball, so we adapted that program to be able to, for that participant to be able to feel like they can successfully provide and learn how to throw the baseball and catch a baseball. So it was really exciting to see that, and I hope each and every one of you take advantage of that. As you can see through our programs and activities, we have a lot to offer in the community. It is a wonderful program and opportunity. We've been doing programs with the adaptive programs for over 25 years. So we're really excited with the youth because that's the newest venture in our programs and activities that we're offering through the camps and through the other programs, and as well as the qualified staff that we have on board. So I hope that each one of you can come and take part in our activities and what we offer. We did develop a parent advisory committee that helps us with selecting some different things and activities that the families are in need of here in this community and what they need. So we're really excited about that opportunity that parents are involved, as well as doing a lot of different other fun events and activities and programs. So I thank you again for all your support of the programs and activities and appreciate all that y'all have done. And they're our heroes. The Adaptive Recreation Program participants are our heroes. And I hope that each and every one of you take advantage and get part of our programs and activities. Thank you.
I call on Becky Hawkins for the t-shirt contest.
Thank you, Mayor and City Council. Roswell Recreation Park's Historic and Cultural Affairs Department held a 2019 Francis McGahee Youth Day Parade T-shirt design contest. The contest was open to Roswell youth, ages 18 and younger. The submissions had to be original designs and needed to reference this year's parade theme, Be Someone's Hero. The department received several submissions, and the top 3 designs were chosen by Friends of the Roswell Parks Board. Once the designs were narrowed down to the top 3, a public vote was created on the city's Facebook page to award the top choice. The final winner would be whoever received the most likes through social media. It was a close call, but with over 100 likes, a creative hand-drawn design by 14-year-old Emily Harrell from Roswell High School was the top choice. We would like to thank Emily, who is joined here tonight with her family, her father and her mother, for her submission, and we look forward to passing out t-shirts during the parade to celebrate her wonderful design and Youth Day Parade. We also just learned that Emily is a previous recreation participant with Roswell Rec and has been with the Roswell Performing Arts before and a cast member of Roswell Youth Theater. So that's super exciting. I would like to call Emily up to receive her certificate as well as t-shirts for her and her family. it possible to get a photo with Emily, with the mayor and council, please?
You all join.
May? Oh, I was confused.
Oh, and don't forget to sign that.
I adjourn this Youth Day portion of the meeting and like to invite everyone on the 30th day of September 2019 to the Youth Day Parade. Thank you. The consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Do I have the motion to the consent agenda?
Approve the consent.
Approve the consent agenda.
Yes.
A motion by,
Motion to approve.
so there's a motion to approve by,
The motion to approve by,
By Chase Quant.
do I have a second?
do I have a second?
Second,
Second by.
Second by,
Amelia White.
all those in favor, please raise your hand.
And it passes unanimously, thank you.
And it passes unanimously, thank you.
Good job. Good. Okay, so you can take this with you. I'm not sure who you give it to. And this is for you. And
Okay. Great job. Ready to approve it? Nice to meet you. Yeah, no, nice to meet you. I think I'll see you at Rotary. Okay, cool. See you, Youth Day? Yeah. All right, awesome.
I would like to thank our Youth Day officials. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedules. I know this is a school night. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate your interest in government. It's very important that we get our young folks involved early on, and we hope that you'll continue to stay involved in City of Roswell issues. So thank you all so much, and we will see you. I know we have a Rotary luncheon coming up. We will see you there, and then, of course, we'll see you at the parade. So we are very excited to have you join us, and we are very excited to have you representing the City Council in this parade. Thank you all so much, and you don't need to stay. If you want to stay, you can stay for the rest of the meeting, but but please don't feel as though you're that you have to stay. It's a school night. The next item on our agenda is the Roswell Arts and Humanities Month proclamation. Whereas October is National Arts and Humanities Month, as so designated by Americans for the Arts, thousands of arts and cultural organizations, state and communities across the country, as well as by the White House and Congress for more than 2 decades. And whereas our nation and the city of Roswell have a rich artistic heritage, and whereas literature, theater, dance, art, and music capture our history, build bridges among us, provide dialogue, and often raise important questions. And whereas artistic expression resonates with us, challenges us, and teaches us important lessons about ourselves and each other. And whereas the arts are vital components to our children's education, teaching students to observe closely, interpret creatively, and think critically, and participating in the arts ignites wonder and imagination. And whereas Roswell has a strong commitment to culture and arts, and this dedication drives the economic progress in our community for all of our residents and visitors, and is sure to entertain and enlighten all ages. Now, therefore, I, Lori Henry, the mayor of the city of Roswell, do hereby proclaim October 2019 as Roswell Arts and Humanities Month, and call upon our citizens to celebrate National Arts and Humanities Month with many special programs and activities and events. The next item on the agenda is reading a proclamation for Administration and Finance Appreciation Week. This week of October 7th through October 11th will be recognized as Administration and Finance Appreciation Week. And whereas the mission statement for the Administration Department is providing result-oriented communication, service, and innovation to our customers. The Administration Department currently operates with 69 employees. And whereas the mission statement for the Finance Department is to provide premier financial stewardship by effectively managing the fiscal activities of the city. The Finance Department currently operates with 30 employees. Now therefore I, Lori Henry, the mayor of the city of Roswell, do hereby proclaim the week of October 7th through October 11th as Administration of Finance Appreciation Week in the city of Roswell. I would also like to call upon all of our citizens to recognize the talents and dedication of our employees in these two departments who strive for excellence and provide the best customer service for our citizens. And I would like to give these folks a hand, and then I would like to ask them to come forward and tell us some of the events that they've got going on next week. So let's give them a hand.
Thank you, Mayor Henry. Our deputy finance director's in the back, and I can't seem to. Yeah, she waved. So anyway, we've got a lot of great things that are going on this week. We have a luncheon that we're going to be providing to the admin and finance departments, just to be able to get together and have a little time to be able just to visit and relax a little bit and kind of share some time together. We have an ice cream social that's being put on by our finance department. They'll be sponsoring that later on in the week. And we do have a blue jeans day, so you might see some of us running around in blue jeans during the week before it's over. But just a lot of fun times, a lot of time just to appreciate being here and appreciate each other and what we do. And it gets to be pretty busy sometimes, and just an opportunity just to sit back and be thankful for what we have and thankful for you guys. So we do appreciate you allowing us to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. And I would like to say again, these folks in admin finance are unsung heroes. They oftentimes make things that are very painful, painless. And anything involving money with me tends to be painful. But they have a way of taking care of things in just a wonderful manner. So I thank you again, and I would like to applaud you again. So you're awesome. Okay, so at this point, I would like to adjourn the special called meeting. We'll wait for about 1 minute to have our cameras recalibrated, and then we'll call to order the open mic night. So thank you all for coming this evening. We are adjourned. I would like to go ahead and call to order our Monday, September 30th open mic night meeting. And I would like anyone that would like to come forward and speak on whatever matters that you would like to speak about. So yes, ma'am, please come forward.
Good evening. I'm Janet Russell, a Roswell resident. My first comment ties in well with this congratulations to the Administrative and Finance Department. The last meeting in June, when we were discussing finance, I asked if we knew how much money we had totally given to Roswell, Inc., and within 24 hours, actually 12 hours, Ryan Luckett got back to me with exactly the numbers. They are such a professional department in this city. They are terrific. And what I learned from him was that in 2012, we gave them $175,000. In 2013, we gave them $410,000. In 2014, we gave them $440,000. In 2015, we gave them $515,000. In 2016, we gave them $540,000. In 2017, we gave them $516,000. In 2018, we gave them $570,000. In 2019, we gave them $600,000. And in 2020, we estimate to give them $560,000 for a total of $4,326,000. I really appreciated the details that Ryan gave me, because when I questioned one thing, he immediately had the answer for me. So I just want to acknowledge that they do a terrific job. Number two is I was on Old Alabama Road Saturday night driving over to From the Earth Brewing to see how their Oktoberfest was getting ready to go. And I don't know if any of you have ever driven it at night, but there is not one street light from where you exit to enter it from under Don White Park to Market Boulevard, not one street light. And that dual lane roundabout where the wiggly lines look like they were painted by a drunk chicken, that roundabout in front of that development, there are no street lights. It is as dark as a cave. Someone is going to be killed on that road because they don't expect to see a roundabout, and there's not one light till you hit Market Boulevard. Nothing. Number 3, I heard this week we're buying water from Fulton County because we're in drought conditions. I cautioned this council a few months ago that we cannot continue to build in this part of town that is provided by water from the city because we did not increase our water capacity at our water treatment plant. Please consider that when you approve thousands and thousands and thousands of square feet. My final question, well, I have another comment on Highway 9, but my biggest statement tonight is, considering we just talked about the Youth Day Parade and Culture, Council of the Arts, who knows what September 15th to October 15th is? Anybody? Well, I'll tell you. It's Hispanic Heritage Month, National Hispanic Heritage Month. And the city of Roswell has done 0 to acknowledge 20% of our population today. 20%, and it will be more when we do the census next year. So I just thought I'd give you a little primer. See if you know any of these names. Juan Felipe Herrera, Isabel Allende, Paulo Coelho, Ildefonso Falcones, Oscar Hijuelos, Miguel de Cervantes, Pedro Almodovar, Selena Gomez, Ricky Martin, Antonio Banderas, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Chita Rivera, Plácido Domingo, Montserrat Caballé, Alfredo Kraus, Jose Carreras, Celia Cruz, Joan Baez, Carlos Santana, Mark Anthony, Gloria Esteban, Gilberto Gil, Diego Rivera, Salvador Dali, Jose Clemente Orozco, Murillo Goya, El Greco, Pablo Picasso, Juan Miró. How about this? Dolores Huerta, Cesar Chavez, Pope Francis, Sonia Sotomayor. How about this name? Juan Jose Garcia Herrera, who died yesterday on the USS Nimitz as a naval enlisted man in a tragic accident. Just in case you don't know any of those people, check it off because you might want to learn. I'll also remind you that we got the salsa, the tango, the cha-cha, the rumba, the bachata, and the merengue. We got paella, sangria, chocolate, guayaba, lomo saltado, amaranth, avocado, chilies, papayas, pumpkins, mofangos, chile, agave, which gave us tequila, nopales, tomatoes, bacardi, guacamole. We have the Mayans, the Aztecs, the Toltecs, the Zapotecs, the Potosi, Teotihuacan, Montezuma. We got all of that, and it is such a part of our culture, and the city has failed to acknowledge any of it. So if you don't know those people that I named, there is the reason why we have Hispanic Cultural Month, Hispanic Heritage Month. And it should be part of our culture and our arts and education these days. I'm embarrassed. Finally, my last comment is on Highway 9. I would so appreciate it if you would stop this project. It is going to endanger the health of every resident who lives in the corridor. If you think this hot air is bad, wait till they cut down all the trees in the national park, and it will make the corridor unlivable with the traffic that increases and stalls. I will hold you personally responsible if I get sick, and I will sue the city if I get sick from the increased pollution. So will all the other people that live there. All around the country, people are taking nothing and making it into something charming, and Roswell's taking something charming and making it into something ugly. Thank you.
Thank you. Who would like to come forward next? Yes, sir.
Good evening. My name's Robert Hoodcree. I've been a homeowner in Roswell since 1998. I found it ironic that we had the Youth Day celebration. I'd like to tell you a little bit about my son. He's a sophomore at Roswell High School. He's advanced or accelerated in every subject he can be. He has a part-time job. Daisy has a school day and he's working. He's doing 14 or 15 hour days. He's a Boy Scout. He plays ice hockey. He got back to actually my vehicle, but the vehicle he was driving the other day to this. Warning notice. This vehicle must be removed within 12 hours to avoid vehicle being impounded. And citation being issued. City Code 8.8.3 and 22.4.1 through 22.4.12. City of Roswell Code Enforcement, 770-594-6101. You call that number and leave a voicemail message, you don't get called back. So, what's the deal? Of course, he was concerned. I went to go and look it up, and I discovered that apparently the vehicle was abandoned. So basically, from what I can understand, the City of Roswell Police Department is being used to harass children who are obeying the law because someone believes they own the street outside their house. A perfectly safe spot, he didn't get a ticket, but I do not want my kid to be scared that he's going to go to school and his car is going to get towed. If the Roswell Police Department has that much time on their hands, then I suggest that maybe the budget needs to be reduced so they can focus on the important stuff around here, not harassing children. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir, and we will look into that. Is there anyone that would like to come forward? Yes, please come forward. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Henry and City Council. Thank you so much for giving us this opportunity to come voice our priorities. My name is Lori Randall. I'm a primary care physician and a mom of 2 young boys, and my family has loved living in Martin's Landing since we moved here in 2015. I'm part of Citizens Climate Lobby, a bipartisan group devoted to finding common ground to tackle climate change in an effective way that's good for the economy and people. We're here to start a conversation with you to move towards gaining an endorsement from the City of Roswell for our carbon fee and dividend solution. By the end of my talk, I hope you'll understand why this is the best and most effective policy to combat climate change and why municipalities have such an important role. We're impressed with the measures Roswell has taken to reduce its carbon footprint, including LED bulbs for traffic signals and school zone flashers and a no net tree loss policy. We also appreciate how visible and accessible Mayor Henry and the City Council are in the community and how hard you all work to make and keep Roswell a wonderful place to live. Every time I come home to my neighborhood, I'm reminded how much I love living right near the Chattahoochee in the midst of beautiful nature, trees, and trails. I'm so glad the conversation on climate change is gaining momentum, including this month Time Magazine and The Economist both devoting entire issues to the topic. We're already seeing increases in severe weather with record-strength hurricanes, wildfires, inland flooding, and devastation to American farmers, including in Georgia. If we continue on our current emissions track, the UN and IPCC project accelerating and devastating effects on our economy and the livability of our climate. It's not optional to address climate change if we want to continue to have a society that's sufficiently stable and prosperous to allow us to focus on traditionally local issues. Citizens Climate Lobby has become a home for many of us who want to work in a respectful, collaborative, proactive way to build political will for a livable world. We're focused on carbon fee and dividend, a gradually increasing fee on carbon at the source that's then returned to American households. It's gradual enough to allow industries a smooth transition away from fossil fuels while sending a strong market signal towards green energy and encouraging economic growth and family prosperity. It simplifies regulations and includes a border carbon adjustment to protect American competitiveness. It's endorsed by over 3,500 American economists. Studies have shown that carbon fee and dividend is the most powerful single solution towards fighting climate change, and if adopted worldwide, could shave 1.4 degrees Celsius off of our projected course of 4.2 degrees by 2100. So it's not the only necessary solution, but arguably the most effective. It puts an honest and fair cost on carbon, as currently carbon-emitting industries receive many direct and indirect subsidies and put a tremendous cost on taxpayers in climate-related damages. The Conservative Climate Leadership Council, including George Shultz, the Secretary of State under Reagan, and James Baker, Secretary of State under Bush, promotes carbon fee and dividend as a free market solution that could strengthen our economy and benefit working class Americans. The U.S. Council of Mayors at their recent meeting, which I know, Mayor Henry, you were unable to attend, passed a resolution urging Congress to impose a price on carbon sufficient to meet the Paris Climate Agreement goals. The World Bank and UN have endorsed carbon pricing as central to addressing climate change. Nationwide, over 415 businesses, 75 faith groups, and 125 nonprofits have endorsed our bill, H.R. 763, the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act, including the Presbyterian Church USA, U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, and the Silicon Valley Leadership Group, which includes Bank of America, Coca-Cola, Comcast, Google, and Microsoft. Our CCL chapter was thrilled this summer to earn the co-sponsorship of our Congresswoman, Lucy McBath. The American College of Physicians, of which I'm a member, endorses urgent climate action, including carbon pricing. We're here to ask first and foremost for the City of Roswell to endorse carbon fee and dividend as a climate solution, and secondarily to accelerate and build on current efforts to lower our city's carbon footprint. Local action and commitments in emission reductions are extremely important for their face value emission reductions and the momentum they build among other local municipalities. But if together we can build the political will for federal carbon fee and dividend, a concept that's catching on in more and more countries worldwide, we unlock an exponentially more powerful key in this most important problem we all face. We will follow up with Mayor Henry and the City Council this week to discuss next steps to advance our proposed resolution. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming and sharing that this evening. Who would like to come forward next, please? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
Hi, good evening. I'm talking on a similar topic, so just 2 more minutes on this subject. My name's Gary Denning. My wife and I own Crossville Veterinary Hospital, which is here in Roswell, and I too am a member of the Roswell chapter of the Citizens Climate Lobby. Our group is made up of conservatives, moderates, and liberals who all kind of agree that it's reasonably clear that our country is not doing enough to protect the environment, and in particular the air that we breathe. The cities of the United States are showing leadership by signaling to their U.S. senators and their representatives that they have the support back home to take the initial small steps that are needed to protect the air. We hope Roswell will endorse this effort. I wouldn't on the surface appear to be the kind of person to be leading an environmental group in that I've spent most of my life working with the chemical industry. I've worked with a number of chemical companies as an executive as well as an advisor and consultant. And I've also worked with the oil and gas industry and many other industries. Nevertheless, proposals to gradually move our country away from carbon-based energy, such as the one that Lori described, are supported by a very diverse population of organizations ranging from ExxonMobil, a longtime client of mine, to the Audubon Society on the other end. Essentially, this is a rare proposal in today's society where business interests and environmental interests are working together to try to come up with a common solution. More importantly, I've been a parent of children in the Roswell community. Both of my daughters went to High Meadows School from pre-K through 8th grade. We've enjoyed, canoeing on the Chattahoochee River, running in the fresh air, basically taking advantage of the outdoors environment that's present here in Roswell. And, my personal objective is to perpetuate that, taking good care of the beautiful environment that we have here. Proposals such as this particular one that Lori spoke to go a long way toward helping to protect the environment for future generations. And I suspect most people want to also do that. But it won't happen unless we make our voices heard and unless we actually take action. So I like to think of the proposal that she mentioned as being the equivalent of, when you go to buy your next family car, you buy a car that gets better gas mileage. It's good for the environment, but it's also good for your pocketbook in the long run. So this is a similar type of, I would consider it a moderate type proposal. While our time here is obviously limited, the Citizens Climate Lobby is available to explain this quite nonpartisan proposal to anyone who's interested. Thank you for considering endorsing the Energy Innovation and Carbon Dividend Act to protect the environment by gradually reducing carbon emissions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And before I call forward the next person, I would just like to remind everyone to fill out the comment card, and you can leave it up at the podium. That'll help our city clerk be able to identify you in case we've got any auditory issues. So who would like to come forward? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
Along the lines of what the... Oh. Jason Yowell, 5010 Old Oak Trace. Along the lines of what the last two speakers were saying, I'd like to apply that to the Gateway project on Highway 9. As everybody knows, I've been advocating for the multi-purpose path that parallels the curb line on the east side of the road to be taken into the woods. And in the drawing there, if you see that green line, that's following the topo from Allenbrook down and around behind the building, and it goes down to an old railroad bed, and it follows all the way down where it comes, as it comes down, it gets a little bit closer to Highway 9. The entrance to that big subdivision at the corner of Azalea, where the green line comes across the street, that's where there's a crosswalk scheduled to go in for the bus stop, and it would be very easy to tie that in. The grade's very gentle there, and it continues down, and when it gets down to the river, it would come and work its way under the bridge and down to the existing path along the river. If we were to, the intersection that's been proposed, the single loop intersection, requires 3 light cycles because you've got 2 left-hand turns and then the straight. If you were to do the grade separation with right-hand turns in and out and a bow tie roundabout on Azalea and one on Riverside, you'd have continuous traffic flow. You wouldn't have the lights. It would be cheaper. You wouldn't need the second bridge. But the multi-purpose path, there's been a lot of resistance from RDOT about that, and the real reason I suspect is because of the alignment with the bridge, the pedestrian bridge that's been proposed to come over from Sandy Springs on this side of the vehicular bridge. And it comes up here and people cross the intersection and then they go on the pedestrian path. So we're going to cut 40-foot swath of the national forest that is been denigrated as junk trees. There are quite a few specimen trees, really spectacular trees that would be included in that 40-foot swath all the way up to the end of Allenbrook for a connection to a pedestrian bridge to provide the people in the city of Sandy Springs with the functional amenity of being able to walk safely to our historic district. That's something I've been trying to get done here, and I only live a mile from the historic district on Pine Grove Road. City of Sandy Springs, they're going to have better access by bike and by pedestrian access than I will before I do, which, wow, and we're going to cut 40 feet of the national forest out to achieve that. That is really a misplaced priority. I think that the pedestrian bridge belongs on the other side. It can work its way into the pedestrian path here. There's just so much wrong with this project, the way it's been designed. It's hideously expensive, not to mention the 300-foot swath that has to be cut to go across Vickery Creek. And here is the 300-foot swath right here for the double bridge. The existing bridge is in really good condition. There's no indication of cracking or spalling. It is structurally sound. Why we would tear it out, I don't know. This project is designed as an irresponsible use of funds and a squandering of resources. A 20-foot median takes up so much space, and it precludes the opportunity to have right in and right out on Azalea. If you think this is going to fix the traffic, it's not. Coming down the hill in the morning, all the traffic that wants to turn right and all the traffic that wants to turn left here is going to be funneled into this turn lane, which looks like it has stacking for about 3 cars, which means the traffic is going to back up into the second traffic lane coming down the hill, essentially rendering, after all this money has been spent, a single lane coming down the hill.
Thank you,
in the
Mr.
morning.
Yowell, for your comments. I would like to clarify for the record that the City of Roswell and I have met with the National Park Service, and a multimodal path through the national parks is not an option for them. So it is not an option for us, and that needs to be taken off the table for discussion. Who would like to come forward next? Yes, sir, please come forward.
My name is Robert Jackson. I live at 955 Lake Charles Drive. Move it this way.
Yeah, you have to hold it pretty close to your mouth. Thank you.
I actually came in tonight because I have good words. I got a call today to help resolve a problem I've had for a year with my driveway, water intrusion into the driveway coming down towards my garage. It may take 2 or 3 weeks before we get started on this, but at least it's a start. And so I want to thank a few people that are here tonight because they were involved. First one I want to thank is Katrina, your secretary or admin. Her counsel early on was very good. It calmed me down, got me settled in so I could kind of get up and speak. The next person I want to thank is Marcelo Zapata. He stepped up to the plate. He was by my side on a couple of issues, and I want to thank him for what he's done. The next person is probably the most important person, and that's Mayor Henry. She took her time to come out and visit at my location, spend the 45 minutes, understood exactly what I was saying, and helped me take it this far. So I'm at a point that I'm thanking, but I also want to say that I would like to come back once this issue is over so that hopefully we can all progress together without any angry words. Anyhow, that's all I've got to say. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson, for the positive comments. And let me just say, government moves slowly, but sometimes we do get the work done. So I'm so happy that you're pleased with what we're going to do moving forward and that you're a happy citizen again.
Great. Thank you.
Who would like to come forward? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
My name is Forrest Buchanan, and I live in Horseshoe Bend. I'd like to speak about MARTA in Fulton County. The missteps of MARTA have been numerous. A couple of years ago, MARTA opened up a door to a warehouse, found still in the packing crates computers that were obsolete by the time and never used. Recently, there's been an official in MARTA that's been indicted for stealing that they know $500,000 from MARTA and from you and I. When they were trying to get Clayton County to join MARTA, MARTA promised them 22 miles of heavy rail, but yet they won't give us light rail up here. We still have the buses. In Fulton County, I don't know about you, but I'm paying somewhere north of $2,500 a year for property taxes. The only Fulton County facilities that I'm aware of is a sewage plant in Roswell East. Fulton County, and I remember you telling us this, that when we were going to have an election, they tried to overcharge us for the election and also tried to do away with the Roswell East Library polling place, which is very Republican district. And just ask yourselves, when's the last time that you all had any interface with Fulton County? They do nothing for the citizens of Roswell. I mean, we have our own fire department, our police department, our recreation department, all the things that they were supposed to give a city, we had to do ourselves. And I just was wondering if, I mean, it's a jobs program we have no control over. I would like to ask you that we would succeed from both MARTA and Fulton County, and you put it on the ballot for the 2020 presidential election so that you would have a good swath of people voting on this. I would rather pay the city of Roswell my $2,500 property taxes and sales taxes that I pay for MARTA. Now for the good stuff. I want to thank you for the Friday food truck by the river. That is really a great program, and I appreciate it. My wife appreciates it, and when our grandchildren visit, they appreciate it. Also for the recreation department, on the two, what I call them jungle gyms, that we can just bring our grandchildren out there and they can just play for hours, run down those little batteries. Also for the splash park. Another reason for them to visit us is to go in the splash park. I don't think any other cities besides Centennial Park has that. My wife and I were lucky enough to visit Russia last fall, and in going through Moscow, we found this street with just a cascade of lights hanging. And the first thing I thought about was Canton Street, that we could do this on Canton Street. There was another street that had white lights, but the picture didn't come out. And I was just wondering if you all would consider this. I thought it was beautiful. Now, in Moscow, in February, January, when you're up to your butt in snow, it may not be that enticing. But I just thought it was a great idea, and maybe you all can consider it in the future. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir. Yes, I would like to keep that if you wouldn't mind. Great suggestion, and we will certainly look into it. Thank you, sir. And also thank you for your positive comments and your ideas going forward with Fulton County. Who would like to come forward next? Yes, sir, please come forward.
Mayor, I have some handouts before you start the clock. Do you have somebody to get them? I have two handouts, one for each of the council members and one for the mayor. Or may I approach?
Thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Mayor Henry, Council, Leaf Flag 435 North Pond Trail. I lost 25 seconds, so I want to remind you of that. The main reason I came tonight is in support of a dear friend and her husband who is unable to attend because he is working. My wife and I know Leah and her husband for well over 30 years. Her husband, Charlie, is my auto mechanic, and he and his partner have a local business and have had one for 28 years. And he is a preeminent auto mechanic. He refurbishes cars from the 50s, 60s, and the 70s, especially the muscle cars from our younger generation. They have lived in Roswell Creek, previously known as Tahoe, for 40 years. A week ago, Saturday, Laura's husband came home about 9 p.m., noticed black smoke and smell of the same coming from within the complex at Roswell Creek. When he initially arrived at the source of the smoke, he noticed an individual who was later identified by the police as an illegal alien stroking a large fire, which was totally contradictory to the apartment owner's rules and likely a city code violation pertaining to open flames. He went to his apartment and asked Laura to come bring her cell phone, which he had a video option, and they returned to where the fire was to record the violation, record it to the management of the apartment complex. This is no different than what I would expect of any one of my residents, or would expect of myself as the president of a homeowner association to document evidence of a violation. As they were turning back to their apartment, this man came after them, threatening and cursing. He eventually got in Laura's husband's face and pointed a gun at him and cocked the hammer. By then, Laura was on the phone with 911 operator, frantically calling for help. When the police car showed up without lights and sirens, so the onboard video camera was likely not operating, and in this neighborhood, when weapons are involved and you're not coming in with at least lights, it's inexcusable. And only after the uniformed officer finished with his interview of Laura and her husband did he apparently turn on his body camera to record the interview with the assailant, which, as you can imagine, was falsified from beginning to end, and believe it or not, became the foundation of the officer's final report. The following day, the same individual pulled up next to them in his vehicle while they were leaving the complex in their vehicle. He pointed his finger at them as though it were a gun while laughing. In my humble opinion, he wasn't laughing at them, he was laughing at the gullibility of your police department. Following that, the assailant apparently sent friends to look into Laura's apartment window to fulfill one of his promises to find out where they lived and terrorize them. You talk about stalking. I will now defer to Laura Peel to advise you of what transpired today during her meeting with your new chief of police. So this is the Tahoe, the old Tahoe, the Roswell Crest Apartments, and this is in the neighborhood that it's located. And I've talked to that area till I'm blue in the face.
Hello. Hello. My name is Lara Peak, and I live in Roswell Creek Apartments.
Excuse me, would you please, I'll call you forward and we'll start the clock again.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my name is Lara Peak. I live in Roswell Creek Apartments. We have lived there for 40 years. I have to admit, I've never come before a Roswell mayor before, or the council, ever in the 40 years we've lived in Roswell, because we've never felt it necessary to come before this evening. But the reason I'm coming before you is after my meeting with the chief today and a detective investigator. I was told that our report after my husband's life was threatened with a deadly weapon and terroristic threats, I honestly thought he was going to die. The police report was labeled as miscellaneous. I'm sorry. Anyhow, I was told that they were not investigating the defendant. Well, I was told by the investigator they were not investigating the defendant, that they were going to be investigating the police officers who showed up. Because we were upset because the report was filed under miscellaneous information, no offense. How can it be no offense when someone has a weapon pulled in front of you and is screaming they're going to kill you, and it's on the 911 tape because it was on speakerphone? I don't understand. And I just wanted to make the council aware of what was happening. I mean, we've had a business for 28 years in the community. We pay taxes. We pay taxes on the sign, where you have to have the permit and all of that. We've never had any problems. all the different owners that we've been through and everything. They rely on us when we see something to say something to them, to call the police. Numerous people know us for doing that and say, hey, you need to, look over there. I suspect there's drugs or this is what's going on. And I feel like absolutely nothing was done, and it's not going to be done, but I just don't understand how that can happen. Thank you. Oh, and I would like to ask the mayor for, well, I'll tell you what I feel like. I feel like the place was filed like it was under miscellaneous because it didn't want to, they didn't want it filed for it to come up under Roswell statistics is not a safe city or that type of thing, because in the past I've called for minor things and it's been like for dog barking or that type of thing, and I'm like, well, that never happened, but I understand we're under an administration and we're starting new and that type of thing. But I mean, how does this happen? On Roswell's police cars it says to serve and protect. We don't feel like we were served or protect, and we should have a history being as long as we've been in the city of Roswell. And I would like to ask the mayor for a formal response, please.
Thank you, ma'am. And I will certainly look into this. Let me just say this, that our mission, our number one priority is the health, safety, and welfare of our citizens. And I will certainly look into it, and I will get back to you. And if you leave me your contact information, we'll get in touch with you. Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
My name's Ernie Geyer, and I live in Roswell. Hello, Mayor, council people. I just had a question that I've been trying to clear up on this Gateway Parkway or this new roadway. Has that been officially approved? Because I've talked to several people. I can't get a straight answer, and I was just wondering if has that been approved by the DOT in Roswell to go forward? Or is it still under consideration and there's some possible changes or ideas that could be presented? How does that work?
Are those your only questions?
Well, I guess it depends on the answer. I mean, basically that's it. I guess if it's completed and it's already been approved, then there's not much, I guess, that can be done as far as the community. But if it hasn't been, then what would be the next step to just, I'm not here to argue about it. I think something has to be done. It's just I'm a little concerned about, the more I read into it, I realize that I think there should be some concerns, especially with the roundabouts, and that's my comment.
Thank you, Mr. Geyer. I would like, and you can have a seat, I'll address you. Mr. Palmer's business cards are right there at the podium if you would like to take one of those, and he can have a detailed conversation with you. I am more than happy to meet with you all as well. I can give you the big picture on this, and then, we can, Mr. Palmer will fill in the blanks, but this is a project that is over 15 years in the making. Numerous public input meetings, numerous plans. As a matter of fact, years ago, GDOT came in, because it is a state road, and offered their plan for the Gateway project, which we would not accept. Then the city stepped up to the plate and spent approximately $2 million on a new plan. We took that plan was voted on by a previous council, and it went to GDOT and said, this is the Roswell plan, this is what we want. Like I said, there were numerous public meetings. That doesn't mean that we shouldn't continue to have the public meetings. So what the most recently transpired is the fact that GDOT is working on right-of-way acquisition as well as temporary right-of-way acquisition while under construction. So that's why everyone saw the flags out. And our transportation department was not coming forward with additional public meetings because they didn't feel like they had something new to report. However, we have had conversations with our staff, and it is apparent that there are many folks, and I would guess that you all were not living in Roswell at the time when all of this was discussed, but that is not an excuse. We need to keep our citizens informed as we move forward, and there is always room for improvement and public input, and that's what we're looking at now. Yes, we do have an approved plan. GDOT is moving forward with it in right-of-way acquisition, and however, we have also asked staff to look at ways to improve that project within the original footprint of what has been designed. So that's the big picture. And like I said, I am more than happy to meet with you. Mr. Palmer will call you and meet with you as well. If you would like us to come to your neighborhood and meet with you, we're more than happy to do that as well. So we're here to listen, and we're here to hear your concerns. And but please understand that this has been a lengthy project. So there's a lot of history involved with it. But we will continue to make history and hopefully improve on the design as we go along. So thank you, sir. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward? Yes, ma'am, please come forward.
Good evening. My name is Claire Barnes. Live in 19 Revival Street. I'm just curious on this Gateway project. Has there been any archaeological surveys done or any studies because of the Cherokee Indians? There's so much archaeological artifacts and a whole bunch of artifacts from the Civil War, from all these creek banks and on the National Forest that's going to be totally disturbed with this project. And there has been a lot of different types of this project, different forms of this project. When the initial citizens were involved, it didn't look like this project does now. But anyway, is there any the archaeological surveys done? And if not, why not? Because there's so much history there that's going to be destroyed.
Thank you very much. I know that we have had extensive environmental studies and work done in the area. I would have to check, and Ms. Barnes, I will have staff get back to you on what those environmental documents entail. But, and that is, the environmental documents are one reason why this project has taken so long, is because it involves the National Park Service and GDOT's funding. So I'll ask staff to get back to you on that. I don't have an answer to that other than extensive environmental work that's been done. Is there anyone else that would like to come? Yes, ma'am, please come forward.
Hi, my name's Lauren Fields, and I live in Singing Hills Drive. I was at 1,000 Coffees the other morning and enjoyed it very much, and so Councilmember Palermo suggested I come just to restate the things I've said many times, and that is that I would like to see a linear path from the Alpharetta Greenway to the Chattahoochee by way of Big Creek, and I know this is, we are a river reservoir, and that is one of the things. We have streams, and that is a great way of an alternate form of transportation. And because National Park says they're not interested, does it make it less important for us to have a linear trail? And if it's for Roswell, it's not going to be easy today. It won't be any easier tomorrow. But not to actually make this a priority is disappointing in my head, because I feel like we should have this. And it's beautiful. I live off of Warsaw area, and I know that should be part of Big Creek Park. In my mind, the Russell Creek Apartments should be converted as the city grows in development. And I think that there's room for high density in that neighborhood so that you can keep these other areas at low density. And the linear trail park just should be a priority. As a citizen, I would like that. Thank you.
If you don't mind, I'd like to ask you a question just to clarify. When you talk about a linear park on Big Creek, could you give
Trail
me
Park.
like a starting point and an ending point?
Yes,
or-
I have a starting point and ending point. Alpharetta Greenway is the starting point where the Big Creek Rip water goes, and it goes underneath 400 to the west side, and then to Vickery Creek. Like Alpharetta's follows the Greenway, I think we should also follow it. And by doing that, we connect so much, not just eventually to Sandy Springs, but to Alpharetta, all over with these, because we're a reservoir, we have all these natural streams that make such easy connections and just totally opens up so much for us. We're a bicycle city. I love to bike. I don't like to bike on the roads. I really just like the calm of a trail versus and the Beltline is so big, and we have what the Belt has and more if we would develop it. So thank you for asking a question.
Thank you very much for coming forward this evening. Is there anyone else that would like to come forward and speak? I don't see any hands up. Well, thank you all for coming out this evening. Thank you for participating in Open Mic Night, and this meeting is adjourned.